Hello students, how are you? I wish you are fit and fine. So today we will discuss about the further that content which was left in the previous video. So up to that video we have covered till the Big Bang theory. So in this video we will discuss about our solar system as well as the other topics which were left. So let's discuss about the solar system of ourselves. So as we can read in the highlighted portion that formation so let's start with the starting one, that our solar system consists of 8 planets. The nebula from which our solar system is supposed to have been formed started its collapse and core formation some times 5 to 5.6 billion years ago, and the planet were formed about 4.6 billion years ago. So with this point it is all clear that nebula was formed before 5 to 5.6 billion years ago. And what is the timeline for our planets? So these are 4.6 billion years ago. So after that, and it is well known, you must be knowing that we are having 8 planets in our solar system as well as that 63 moons. Okay, so because but this Earth is having only one moon, and many of the planets, Jupiter and all these are having that Jupiter, Saturn, and these all are having many planets. So going further, out of the 8 planets, Mercury, Venus, Earth and Mars are called the inner planets. As you can see in this table, that the distance, density, radius and satellites, number of satellites are given here. But what might be, or what it may be confusing for you, is that the digits are written in points. What does it means? It means that we are comparing its density, we are comparing its distance from the sun in the context of the distance of Earth with the respect of sun. So as you can see, the distance of the Earth from sun, or that our sun, is 1. So we are taking this distance as 1. So we are taking it as a standard distance. So we are comparing on the basis of this. So, and the number of satellites, as you can see, that Jupiter is having about 53 satellites, and Saturn is also having about 53 satellites, and Uranus is having about 27 satellites. But what you must be knowing that these 4, Mercury, Venus, Earth and Mars, these are the inner planets, and on the other hand, Jupiter, Saturn, Uranus, Neptune are the outer planets. Okay, so what other names are given to these planets? So inner planet, these planets are also called terrestrial planets. So terrestrial means Earth-like. So actually the size of these 4 planets, that is Mercury, Venus, Earth and Mars, the size as well, and the size of them and the density of these planets are very similar to the Earth. So that's why, that is the reason, that's because of this these planets are called terrestrial planets, because these are somewhat similar to the Earth surface. So moving further, and the rest 4, as we have discussed, that previous 4, these 4 are called terrestrial. On the other hand, other 4 are called Jovian, that is Jovian gas planets. Actually Jovius is just because of the Jupiter-like. So these all 4 planets are comparatively big in size, and the the earth, that is the physical geography of those planets are just like gas. So that's why these are called Jovian planets. So, and Jovius means Jupiter like. So previous four are like earth like, and the next four are just like as Jupiter. So moving ahead. Okay, so the difference, okay, we have understood that we are giving the two names or the two branches. We are creating a distinct branches, just like the four are terrestrial and those four are, that is Jovian. So why it is the difference? So why these are different from other? So the difference between terrestrial and jovial planets can be attributed to the following condition. That what are the basic condition for which these planets differ from each other? So as you can read the highlighted portion, that the solar winds was most intense nearer the sun, so it blew off lots of gas and dust from the terrestrial planets. The solar winds were not all that intense to cause similar removal of gases from the Jovian planets. So, what it tells us about the case? So, actually, at that time of the formation of our planet system, what happened that time? That there are several thousands solar winds formed by sun, and those were thrown in on the path of the planets. So what it does to our planet, that it allows or it forces all the kind of gases and the gaseous environment to left the planet. So the previous four planets, due to these kind of solar winds, their gases, their hydrogen as well as helium gases left these planet. But that was not the case with the outer planets. These are Jovian planets. So they are containing, right now they are containing all the kind of gases and the gaseous environment inside them. So that's why the inner planets are having the solid surface, as well as the outer planets are not having the solid surface. So the next point is that terrestrial planets are smaller and their lower gravity could not hold the escaping gases. As we all know that these first four planets are small in size, they are much similar to the Earth. So because outer planets are big in size, they are having a huge amount of gravity inside them. But the previous four inner planets are small in size, that's why their gravity is not that much strong. So that it was incapable. The previous four planets are solid in nature. So moving further to the next page, we are having the topic of evolution of the earth. As we all know from the starting, it is not the case as present, because today we are having so much water, that is up to 70% of water on the earth, as well as we are having so much variety of life on the earth also. So we are having oxygen, water, ice and life on the earth. That was not the case before some billion years ago, because that time, with the help of time, with the help of evolution, we are able to survive on the earth. So we have to discuss that how much time it has taken to evolve, because as we all know that from the starting, earth and like the other planet, it was also barren, so just like rocky and like a fireball. So between the 4600 million years and present, so life gets evolved here. Okay, so the earth has a layered structure from the outermost end of the atmosphere to the center of the earth. The material that exists is not uniform. The atmospheric matter has the least density. From the surface to the deeper depths, the Earth's interior has different zones, and each of these contains materials which has different characteristics. Because as we all know that on the earth we are having so much variety, we are having a vast variety of the materials, we are having so much kind of various kind of gases, various kind of carbonic, and that is and non which is some of the material is in gas form, some of the material is in liquid form, and all others are in solid state. So there are a vast variety of the materials which are available on the earth. So this is just because the evolution of the earth. So the next point is evolution of the lithosphere. So actually lithosphere is what it is, the structure, it is the physical structure what we are seeing that the earth is having. We know that earth is having core inside it and all the other part like crust and the mantle. So we have to discuss that why it was not just like before, it get evolved during the time span. So as we all know that due to the gradual increase in density, the temperature inside has increased. As a result, the material inside started getting separated depending on their densities. As we all know that heavy metal sinks and the lighter metal goes up. Okay, if you are throwing some stones in the water, so what will happen? The stone will sink and go to deep inside the water. And if you are throwing some dust particles, what will happen? It will float on the surface of the water. So it happens that time with the earth surface also. The heavier materials like iron and nickel, these are heavier metals. So these metals sink inside the core of the earth, and the lighter material which was like aluminium and magnesium, these are lighter materials. So these remains on the surface of the earth. So it gives the present picture of the earth. So this is the evolution by which the lithosphere of the earth get evolved. So the next point is evolution of the atmosphere and hydrosphere. That as we all know that without atmosphere and without hydrosphere, atmosphere is nothing but the envelope, the blanket of earth which the earth is having. And without this, we cannot imagine a prosperous life, a variety of life on the earth. And the hydrosphere, that is the word which is meant by hydro. So hydro means the water. Okay, so we all know that 70% of the water, that 70% of the earth is covered with water. So how we are getting this water on the earth? It was not at the time of the formation of the planets. Then how it can be right now the major portion of the earth is covered with the water? So where we get the water from? That is the case. So just going deeper, there are 3 stages in the evolution of the present atmosphere. The first stage is marked by the loss of primordial atmosphere. In the second stage, the hot interior of the earth contributed to the evolution of the atmosphere. Finally, the composition of the atmosphere was modified by the living world through the process of photosynthesis. So it is all about the evolution of the earth lithosphere and the chemical reactions which happened at the time of evolution of the lithosphere and the formation of the solar system. And after, in the third stage, when life get evolved and exist on the planet, then the photosynthesis played a vital role in the formation of present scenario. So because because at the time of evolution, the percentage of oxygen was not that much so that we can live we can live on the earth. So with the help of photosynthesis, we are able now to live on the earth. Okay, so now early atmosphere within hydrogen and helium is supposed to have been stripped off as a result of solar winds. This happened not only in case of the earth but all the terrestrial planets. So as we have discussed earlier that previous four planets are similar to the earth, and they are not having so much gravity so that they can hold their hydrogen and helium on their surface. So solar winds blew away these kind of gases, and it gives a boost to the evolution of the evolution of the present case, the evolution of the present scenario which we are seeing. So during the cooling of earth, gases and water vapors were released from the interior solids earth. As we all know, and we must say that from the beginning of the evolution, the water was not there. But we must understand, what we must remember, that all the components which are essential to form the water, like what is water? It is H2O, na? So hydrogen was there, and oxygen, the some component of the oxygen were also there. So it by combining these elements, so moving on the next page, we are having the geological time scale. I think you must go through it and understand that from the beginning of the universe, that is the Big Bang the starting of the Big Bang, and up to the present, what the stages Earth and all other planets get evolved. So you have to go through it, just check it, and just try to understand that what is the classification, that how that eons, eras, periods, epoch, and age. So why these all are divided, and in one eon there are how many that eras are there, and in one era, and like Cenozoic era, how many periods are there. So you have to understand. So later on, the earth ocean were formed within 500 million years from the formation of the earth. This tells us that the ocean are old as 4,000 million years. Sometimes around 3,800 million years ago, life began to evolve. So as we all know, as we can understand that what is the timeline and what is the age of these oceans which are present right now. So on the next page, that is the origin of life, that modern scientists refers to the origin of life as a kind of chemical reactions which first generated complex organic molecules and assembled them. This assemblage was such that they could duplicate themselves, converting inanimate matter into living substances. So what it is saying, that with the help of modern theories and science, we are now on the conclusion that the starting of the life was due to the chemical reactions, and the chemical reaction was so complex so that it can duplicate itself and this process was going on further, and gave the boost to the modern life and the complex life that time. So we can conclude that life began to evolve sometime 3,800 million years ago. So we can easily say that 3,800 million years ago life get formed on the earth. And so we have actually seen in that geological scale which was on the previous page. So I hope you understand this chapter very well, and now it's time to do some questions. So just go through these questions. You can take this screenshot. I will provide the PDF of this chapter also. And so these are the questions. I'll provide you the notes as well as the answers of this. You have to understand, and go through this chapter with the help of PDF, which whatever the points we have covered and whatever the questions given over here, you can solve it by yourself also, as well as I'll provide the solutions for these questions to you along with the video also.